Now, there was a time many years ago when lots of people left school and took apprenticeships, and then it didn't become the thing to do. Everybody went off to university. Well, I say everybody, not everybody. Young lady sitting alongside me here who knew she wanted to do an apprenticeship. She's Jess Horton. Jess, welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
And also the man who gave her that opportunity, Alan Lusty. I will start with you, Alan, because you left school, and you're quite proud to tell everybody this, no qualifications or anything, didn't you?
Academically, Bob, I was just totally out of it, and I think luckily I'm one of the people that are lucky to know what I want to do since the age of 9, 10. Right?
Yeah.
You know, so I was quite forthcoming on the fact that.
Right. So when you were 9, what did you say to Mum and Dad? I want to be.
The way it happened was that one of my brothers used to bring his friends home over night time after they'd been to the pub, and he explained what an instrument apprentice job, what his job was. And after a few sort of hours of talking to him, I'm thinking, wow, I like that job because I'm an hands-on person. I'm not academic. Yeah. That job role that he got was very much hands-on and not academic. So I'm thinking, wow, that's what I'm going to be. And I just stood by that. So I've been lucky to go through the whole of my life with a job as a hobby, really, you know, which was
There's
great.
no better way. So that's how I regard this. This isn't a job. This is just a hobby, you know. So how did you start out then? What did you actually do?
As a business, or
you took an apprenticeship then?
I took an apprenticeship, and I failed my 11 plus. So the viewers that sort of heard of the 11 plus days, I totally flunked that one. But in my head, it didn't matter because I was going for an apprenticeship, and that was the important thing. Was at the age of 16, I'd start my career, and certainly I think that held a good stead really on the fact that I was learning and earning, really. You know.
Were they sort of reasonably easy to come by then?
They're probably more easy than now, and one of our frustrations nowadays is that we don't publicise the importance of apprentices, really, you know, and you know, the way that the country's gone is 10 or 15 years ago, the only place you've got to go is to secondary school, or sorry, to further education, or to you know, to universities, really. So unfortunately we've lost some headway on the fact of the importance of apprentices at the age of 16, where the less academic people and the more hands-on people were going to get a better shot, really. So
yeah, because they're forever saying, you know, we are a country of manufacturing, and we lost all those skills, didn't we?
Very much
with
so.
People not coming through.
Yeah.
So we might have lost them, but not to everybody. Jess, who's here, sit alongside you. Jess, now, you decided you didn't want to go to university. You did want to do an apprenticeship. Why was that?
When I was at sixth form, so I was about 17, the college they explained that university was the best thing I could ever do, and it was the best chance for me to get a better job, and the idea of university never appealed to me. So I started researching into apprenticeships, and the idea of still learning but earning at the same time and having that experience ahead of degrees kind of appealed more to me than having to sit in a classroom again.
So what was it about engineering that appealed to you then?
It was something different. Admittedly, I didn't know much about it to start off with. I'd heard of the company but never kind of delved into it. But the apprenticeship seemed to suit what I was interested in. And again, the Formula One kind of theme across the company stood out to me more than others.
Because we should say that's your great passion, isn't it? Formula One motor racing.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, just one of, right? Okay. I thought it was the main one. I won't go there. I will not ask. Except I do know that Jess has helped set up a charity tuck shop. Is that right?
Me and my one of my colleagues, Chloe, was managed to set up what started off as sweets. Started off with crisps and kind of carrying on to a little window ledge of everything you could possibly think of, and all the money raised does go to the company charity for the year. So this is the second year we've done it, and we managed to raise just over £500 last year.
That's very good, isn't it?
So
yeah.
we've done quite well with that.
Yeah. Did you think of an apprenticeship in engineering? Did you think this is going to be a getting my hands dirty, my nails broken type of thing?
Yes and no. No, because
do you get your hands dirty in this job?
I try to kind of get involved with everything as much as possible, try and kind of understand every part of the company other than just my admin role. But yeah, I didn't really understand engineering totally when I first started, but getting used to kind of the company, what we do, how we do it, where we do it, has kind of given me the insight into engineering.
So when you signed up for this, were you, what, 17, were you? 17,
was
18?
just
Yes.
yeah, 17.
So were you the only girl to take part in this?
I was the only girl.
Were you?
So it was quite daunting at first, but I think it's kind of given me the advantage to kind of push myself a little bit further.
And how many, there was you and how many boys were there?
At the minute, I think there's 11 boys.
Okay.
So I'm the only girl.
So one or two will be Jack the Lad, we know that for sure. But I would imagine most of them kind of stand back a bit, don't they?
Maybe.
Is this right, Alan? You will know.
Yeah, I think, you know, people are people, aren't they, Bob, really, you know, and the important thing about apprentices is that we want them to develop themselves, really, but certainly, you know, having Jess in amongst the boys, it certainly picks the boys up, and Jess is so forward in her objectives and her way, you know, that...
You see, I've only known Jess for about 20 minutes, and my research said that she was shy. I haven't quite seen that side of her yet.
I used to be.
You used to be, and then you went to work for Alan on all these guys. I mean, did you look, when was Jess the first girl to apply for an apprenticeship with you?
Jess is actually our first female apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the 25
So when
years,
you got this, did you kind of go, Jess, this is a girl? Is this right?
I think for the first apprentice in 25 years, the answer is yes. But you know, we're an equal opportunities company, and the important thing is that if somebody's got the passion for engineering, that's more important than whether they're female or male, really. And Jess showed that passion, really. So
I say she obviously convinced you, didn't she? That in among all these boys,
and she's continually pushing us, which is great. So Jess pushes us more than some of the male apprentices, you know, which is superb.
Okay, so let's just delete that
and
word.
And sorry, Bob, she's not in a shell at all now. And
I was going to say,
not at all.
We must delete this word shy from this list here. Alan Lusty is with us. He started up his own business and did rather well. 25 years you've been going now. Yeah. Huge turnover. 80 million, is that what I see? Yes. That's a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah. My word. But he's a man who left school with no qualifications and a big fan of the apprenticeship scheme. And Jess Horton is, I've now discovered, his one and only engineering apprentice. The girl who broke the mould and turned from a shy girl who sat in watching Formula One on the television to taking on all the boys. We had a bit of a smile about this, and Jess being the only boy. How difficult is it to get boys to want to do apprenticeships now?
I think, unfortunately, Bob, that you know the schools have lost all the reasons to be an apprentice. The schools, both with what the government do, they want people to go to further education, and it seems as if apprentices are now third or fourth in line for careers, really. And so, unfortunately, we've got a history in the UK, probably 20 years, that we've got to turn that round and get the schools talking about apprenticeships. So it starts with the teachers, for them to explain to children that there's an option as an apprenticeship rather than the only option is further education, really. So,
is there any sign that we are beginning to turn it around?
I think it's good now that the government are bringing out things like, you know, the levy to put the importance of apprenticeships. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think at least now it's recognised and people are talking about it. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, people weren't talking about apprenticeships. It wasn't a problem. It now it's a serious problem for us, really now. And,
so what do you think that business and industry in this country has lost then because of that?
I think we've lost the fact that people, the non-academic people, are actually the workhorse of any country. You know, you look at the countries that are advanced in the world, Germany. They see an engineer as almost like a doctor. An engineer in the UK is seen, or an apprentice engineer, is seen as engineering is dirty. Well, engineering isn't dirty. You know, this is our normal workwear. And we need to change that perception that engineering is dirty, and hence there are opportunities for people not just to have white-collar work, but also back into hands-on, really, you know.
I mean, your core business, your head office is based in Birmingham, isn't it? But you've got others around the country.
Yeah.
I mean, you have built up a sizable empire, haven't you, with this?
Yeah, we have 12 offices around the UK. A majority, 80% of our workforce is within the Midlands. And obviously the Midlands is still seen as a work area for manufacturing, or a main area for manufacturing. 95% of our work is attached to manufacturing, so the apprentices that we need are going to be engineering apprentices, you know. And but it's a struggle for us. But you know, we're not sitting back and saying, well, it's somebody else's problem to sort out. It's the government's problem. It's not. It's us as employers to help sort that problem
You've
out.
got to sell the idea to people as well, haven't you? So we know there's 11 apprentices taken on at the same time as Jess. They're in their second year now. How are numbers stacking up for the future at the moment?
By the end of this year, we'll be up to 20. So we're actually going to increase that by 9 this year. That will be our biggest increase in apprentices in a single year. Joining the 5% club, the UK 5% club, is saying that by 2020, 5% of our workforce will be apprentices, and we'll maintain that really. So, but we're well on schedule for that.
Are they staying the course? Are they all, when they sign up, are they still there? I mean, they're not getting fed up a bit after a while?
Yeah, I think the dropout rate, Bob, to be truthful, is probably less than in universities. I think as a whole, our retention rate for apprentices is probably 98, 99%. You do get the odd person that comes and says, well, after 2 weeks, I made the wrong choice, and that is sad, really. But what we tend to do now is do more vetting. In the case of Jess, she had a passion. That was a passion, and what we need to do is to make sure people understand what engineering is, understand the apprenticeship scheme, and want a passion for it,
Were there some people who, when you said, "Oh, I'm taking this girl on," she's 17, they said, "You're doing what?"
I don't think I give people the choices, really, Bob. She came across with the right attitude, and it was attitude that's the important thing. And the fact that she's, the only person in amongst those apprentices, it's great, really. But she's not fifth in line. She's one of the top apprentices, really, which is great.
Hey, there you are. You see, we've got evidence now. We've got visual and audio evidence of what Alan's just said about you. How difficult was the transition from you? Because there you are. You're coming out of sixth form college, and suddenly you're slung into a workplace.
Yeah, it's quite scary. I was kind of used to having teachers to kind of tell me what to do, and I mean, I think I was out of college for about a month before I started the apprenticeship, so I didn't really have the break of getting used to kind of having a break from an environment like that. It was quite scary and daunting at first, but everyone at AGI was very welcoming. Even as an apprentice, I thought I'd kind of get different treatment, but everyone treated me as if I'd been there for 2 years, so I fitted in really well with everyone straight away, so it was better for me to kind of have that kind of welcoming from everyone to kind of help me fit in.
And I would imagine that you've got all these 11 boys exactly where you want them. Is that right?
Well,
Alan is laughing, so he obviously knows that's the case. Well, that's great. It's good to hear of your success, Alan, over 25 years.
Thank you.
And yours over 2 years.
thank you.
I can see a future boss on our way. Jess, thanks for being with us.
No problem. Thank you.
We'll see you again after the break.